Hello and welcome, whether you are brand new to this channel or tuning back in. My name is Michael, and today we are going to be looking at the relationship and love advice that you need to hear right now. Do keep in mind that this isn't a traditional love reading that you may find on YouTube asking about when a relationship is going to be coming in or with who. Instead, we're going to be looking at ourselves, doing a lot of self-reflection and looking at our patterns, seeing how we might not be fulfilling our relationship desires, whether we are single, in a partnership with somebody, looking for love. This could also apply to friendships, family members or coworkers. This doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. What we're really looking at here is the blockages in our own heart and in our own being that is preventing us from connecting to others in the way that feels the most fulfilling. I do have links in the description box down below if you are looking for personal readings or Reiki sessions. Keep in mind that these are general messages and not all of the messages that come forward are going to be meant for you specifically. It is up to your own intuition and discernment to figure out what applies to your own life and what should be left behind for somebody else. This message is timeless, so it doesn't matter when you are watching this video, but it was inspired by Venus opposing Saturn, which is currently happening. It is July 8th, 2021, so you may very well be experiencing hardships or hard lessons coming up in your relationships right now, and if that's the case, then this reading is definitely for you. I will show you the card selection screen now. You are welcome to pause the video and take as much time as you need. I do encourage you to pick one pile, at least at first. Try and pick the pile that pulls you in. Trust your intuition, don't overthink this, and let's see what we have in store for you, what messages and guidance Spirit has for your love and relationship life. This reading is for you if you chose group number 1. The first card that came out for you is the Seven of Wands. Then we have the Eight of Wands in reverse, followed by the Eight of Cups upright. So right away with this group, I feel like there's this pattern in relationships where you feel like you have to fight for love, fight for attention, fight for reciprocity. It's almost like you have to earn their relationship. That's a pattern that I am getting for you. And I feel like this is coming from a place of childhood wounds or attachment issues where you feel like deep down you're not worthy of love. And in order for you to earn love, you have to be able to give something for somebody. The relationship has to challenge you in some way. You may have come out of a relationship that was very, very challenging. You may have also had a conflict with someone in the recent past, and you're currently not in communication with the Eight of Wands. I am getting this feeling that a lot of you are actually in the process of going through a breakup or ending a connection with somebody, whether that is romantic or a friendship perhaps. Maybe it's a family member. But really what this is about is you need to discover your self-worth and your self-love here. I know that's sort of cliche, but that's just the message that really seems to be coming through very strongly here. From the Moonology Oracle, we do also have the new moon in Scorpio, which is working through your fears. And you did actually have a new romantic cycle begins with the new moon in Libra. But this card did come out in reverse. It's almost like you need to do this shadow work. You need to do the hard self-reflection work, the therapy, however this makes sense for you, before you can really begin this new romantic cycle. But I do feel that it is coming for you. So that's actually kind of a positive message. Again, I was saying these messages aren't necessarily going to feel the best, But if you chose group 1, I do actually feel there is a new relationship coming in, and it's also going to be very different from the relationships that you've had in the past that have been very challenging, or you feel like you've needed to defend yourself. I actually do get this sense you may also be drawn to people where there's conflict, or you feel like you need to stand up for yourself, because in a weird way it actually does make you feel this sense of self-worth. It's like, no, you're not going to talk to me like that. You almost need that sort of instigation, which is kind of interesting. But if you feel like you constantly have this attraction to people who put you down or make you feel less than, I want you to really sit with yourself and ask, why am I pulling in this relationship? Why do I keep coming into these patterns or these cycles with people where I feel like I constantly need to stand up for yourself? I feel like you're trying to build up a sense of self-worth or self-esteem that you don't necessarily have right now, just being totally honest with you. In the future, you do have the 8 of Cups. So I do feel like you are supposed to be walking away from relationships right now. You really do need to be doing some deep soul searching here. There may actually be some travel for some of you as well. I am kind of seeing that. There might have been travel delays with the 8 of Wands in reverse. There may be something or someplace you're going to that is helping you really spend some time with yourself, kind of get out of the routine of your daily life and see things from a different perspective. That's specifically the energy I'm getting with the 8 of Cups here. It's really important that you are taking time to heal. And I'm going to be honest, I feel like you're not really supposed to know much about the future right now. You might be looking at a lot of tarot readings, trying to figure out when a new relationship is coming in. You might be totally over whatever was going on in the past. And you're really just trying to look forward. With the 8 of Cups, though, it's like you're kind of supposed to move on, and it's not going to be super clear right away. It's going to be blurry. It's going to be foggy. That's part of you working through your fears here with this Scorpio new moon. And I do want to keep in mind, too, with these Moonology cards, they could very well be talking about the literal lunar phases. So there could be something between the new moon in Libra and the new moon in Scorpio, which in tropical astrology is from the end of September to the end of... it's the end of September to the end of, or beginning of November. There we go. Those are kind of when those new moons are likely to occur. I do encourage you to Google that time frame because we do have these 2 cards right next to one another. There could be something significant happening for you in the fall or in the spring if you're in the southern hemisphere with your love and relationships. But I feel like in the meantime, we're really supposed to go off and be by ourselves. There's almost this hermit energy or this solitude energy. You need to move forward and move on from something. From the Botanical Oracle, we do have the Samphire card, which is adventure. So I feel like there is actually this adventure that some of you are supposed to be going on, or maybe you're feeling drawn to move to a different part of the country. This adventure card is really interesting because I was saying there is this sense of travel for some of you, or there is this sense of you broadening your horizons. However this makes sense for you, I really do encourage you to treat your life like an adventure. Stop trying to know everything ahead of time. Really become more in the moment. And in relationships, stop trying to figure out if someone is going to be the person you marry. Stop trying to figure out the future of a relationship before you even know somebody. I do see with the Moth card here, this tendency to possibly rush into relationships like a moth to the flame. You may feel that you have this pattern where you constantly feel like you're being drawn to these relationships that don't feel good or are destructive for you. When I do see the Moth card, to be honest, it does make me think of a dark night of the soul, going through a transformation, going within, transforming from within the chrysalis, and it can feel kind of lonely, to be honest. And I want you to use this time to really go on the trips, to do the things, to live the life you would live if you were in a partnership, if you're single. If you are in a relationship with somebody, I really do feel like you need to take some time away. You really do need to cool off, figure yourself out, figure out your own emotions, figure out where this relationship is going. To be honest, I do feel like there is a new cycle that is coming in. This may be with a new person, maybe it's with a person you're involved with now. That's actually not really the point though. I was saying earlier, it feels like you're not necessarily supposed to know the outcome of a specific situation. You're not really supposed to know the outcome of when a relationship is going to come in or when the new person is going to come in. This is more about you exploring yourself, having a relationship with yourself. And finally, with the Swan card here, I do see a lot of reflection in this card. It did actually come out kind of in the reverse. Again, I don't read reversals, but I found that interesting. Still a mirror image either way. It's actually kind of hard to notice when this card is upright or in the reverse. This does actually make me think that some of you were dealing with an energy that felt like a twin flame. And part of the reason it's so hard for you to move on is because you believe that this person is a twin flame or a soulmate, and you're afraid of letting go. And you don't feel like there's ever going to be a new person for you or a relationship that quite matches the intensity or the connection that you experienced with a previous person. Or maybe you kind of buy into this belief system in an unhealthy way where it's preventing you from actually enjoying balanced relationships, which don't have to be intense all the time. In fact, they're usually quite comfortable and you feel secure in that connection. I feel like in the past, you derived your sense of excitement and adventure from the relationships or people you were connecting with, and now you're really being asked to go on an adventure for yourself, to do the things that light your soul up, to do the things that nourish you. There could be something with intuition here with the Swan card or writing, specifically poetry, because Swan is associated with the goddess, with the goddess Saraswati. So you may be called to do a lot of writing or a lot of journaling, but I do feel there is this very necessary alone time that you need, and you really need to do this self-discovery. Those are all the messages I am getting for you right now, Group 1. I do feel there is a new relationship coming for you, but that's not really the focus right now. We have to do a lot of the soul searching. A lot of the time, the perfect person comes in when we're already in a good relationship with ourselves. We're not trying to become anyone different. I do hope that this was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below if this resonated. What are the patterns you've been dealing with? How are you moving forward? What is this adventure that you are feeling called to go on? That's a really good one. I'd love to hear that. I do have links in the description box if you are looking for personal readings or Reiki sessions. I am also offering aura readings on my store, so if you're interested in those, I'm actually making a whole series on YouTube, so I hope you're looking forward to that. I am wishing you all the best. Have a great day, Group 1, and I hope to see you soon. This is your reading if you chose group number 2. The first two cards that came out together, we actually have the Lovers and the Two of Wands, followed by the Hierophant, and then the Hermit in reverse with the Three of Wands upright. So I do get the sense that this might be the pile where there was a marriage involved in a situation, whether you are going through a divorce, you were married before. Could also be a situation where there may have been a third party, or there may have been a decision that you needed to make between two people. You may have felt that this person was making you decide, or maybe this other person had to decide between you and somebody else. This is a general message, so it's kind of hard to figure out what this exact situation here. But there is something about a choice that needed to be made. And I'm going to be honest, with the other cards that we have on the table, we have a new moon, a new start is coming, and the South Node, don't let your past hold you back. I really feel like whatever it was that happened for you in the past, it's something you are no longer dealing with, or you are moving away from presently. I do get the sense, whatever it was that happened here with this decision, and maybe this is just representing the decision for you to choose relationships that are actually going to serve you in the long term. I see a lot of stability with the Hierophant, and presently you're thinking a lot about long-term commitments. You may very well be thinking about marriage. What is the type of marriage or long-term relationship you want to experience? I do also kind of get this spiritual vibe for you too. The South Node astrologically can sometimes speak of past life connections. I could see, for some of you, there may be this connection you're making to a pattern or a relationship that goes into the past lives, into that territory. I actually could even see twin flame energy with the Two of Wands and the Lovers card here, but this is actually showing up in the past, and it feels like energy you're kind of moving away from again. I say that because the Two of Wands and the Lovers together, it's like you have Two of Fire. It does just give me that impression, not gonna lie, that twin flame energy. But I feel like there is this new beginning for you. This could be talking about a relationship that is coming into your life that does have a past life connection, but to be honest, I don't really want to focus on that. I don't think that's particularly healthy, just being real. I think what's important is that you are looking forward. That seems to be the thing that really matters the most. It feels like you're coming down or coming out of this isolation with the Hermit in reverse, and you're supposed to be looking forward. There is something coming in, and you can feel it. You can feel there is this new energy here. And I feel like what really matters is that you are creating a relationship that can last in the long term. You might very well just be focused on your own stability right now. You might be working very hard in your career or working spiritually, trying to build something for yourself. You actually do have the card Cattail from the Botanical Oracle, which comes with the oracular property build. And it's so beautiful because cattail actually does or is a common building material. There are even parts of the world where people literally will use cattail to build houses on, floating islands and build from there. So it is quite literally you building a foundation for something that is going to last, building a home. I love, love, love this energy for you, actually. But I'm going to be honest. I feel like you've come into situations in the past where you've needed to make decisions or there have been other people involved. And it's almost like this issue with self-worth or self-esteem that is coming up. There is some resonance here with some of the messages that came in group 1. Just saying, if that is a pile you are feeling kind of torn between, there might also be some messages for you there. But honestly, I feel like you had to choose something different. And again, this very well could just be referring to you deciding for yourself. It doesn't matter what is in my life presently. What do I want? It's not about what the other person wants. What do I want? Who is going to meet me at my level? Who is going to meet my needs? And I really do feel like, again, I feel like some of you are really leaving a long-term relationship behind or a marriage that's been a bit difficult. And you're now trying to figure out how to build a life for yourself. How to be fulfilled, even if that means not being in a relationship. But I do feel like something is coming. You're building the foundation for something. You even have spider as an animal card here. You're weaving a web. Something is going to come here eventually. But honestly, group 2, the thing that you need to do, the relationship advice that Spirit is trying to give you right now, is to create the life that you already love. That is when the right person is going to come in. Don't use not being in a relationship as an excuse. Don't use not having the right people around as an excuse to not build or make steps towards the thing that actually feels good. Because very often, I hear this, people will say, I want to be in a relationship so I can travel or start a family or find a home. You may actually start to need to take those steps before. It's actually very often the case that when we are on our aligned path, that is when the right person comes in. I feel like for a lot of you, you tried to fit yourself into somebody else's life in the past, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work. Or maybe you're just deciding to live more for yourself now. Maybe you're still in a relationship and that's still even existing and continuing for you, but the way you're approaching it is very, very different. I feel like in some time you are coming into a relationship where you are actually able to be yourself. And maybe for some of you, that is the relationship you're currently in. Maybe you finally found the supportive love connection where you're able to be yourself. But to be honest, I feel like you needed to go through quite a few lessons in order to get there. You had to go through relationships where you did try fitting into somebody else's life and it just didn't work out for you. And with the spider card, again, I really encourage you to take some time and build things. Let things build over time. Don't rush towards anything. Wait for it to come to you. You do also have the tiger card here as well. And honestly, when I see the tiger card, it does make me think of this message of sexual healing. So kind of separate here, there may be some sexual trauma or some sexual healing that you are going through, healing your own sexuality. Maybe this is about you getting your needs met in that way as well. That could very well be what this is about. But to be honest, what I really feel with Tiger most of all, it's about facing our fears. It's about going through the shadows. Tiger is a nocturnal predator, so it's very much comfortable going through darkness and situations of uncertainty, and it feels no fear. So if you're feeling a lot of fear or uncertainty as you're building this new life for yourself or trying to stand up on your own 2 feet, Tiger might actually be the energy for you to channel. Really tap into that courage, that fearlessness, that oneness with shadow, seeing things in the dark that others miss. I think you're able to see the red flags, see what isn't working for you now. And you do have a new start coming. I want you to really focus on that. And that new start might not even be a relationship right now. That could be something to do with work. It could be something else that is very personal to you. But I do feel for a lot of you, there is a relationship that is coming eventually. You are coming out of hermit mode, especially if you've been single for a while or felt isolated or disconnected. Whatever your situation, there is a new energy coming in, and you are supposed to let go of the past here. Don't let the past hold you back. You've learned your lessons with the South Node, and now it's time for you to go in a direction that is brand new, that really makes your heart sing, that opens you up to the world. And I think that is going to bring a lot of beauty for you. So I hope that this reading was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. I have all of my links in the description box down below if you're looking for a personal reading or Reiki session. I am also offering an aura reading service in my store now if you're interested in those. I've actually been working on a whole YouTube series talking about aura, which will be coming out shortly, so I hope you're looking forward to all of that. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. This is your reading if you chose group number 3. The first card that we actually had come out for you was the Hanged Man in the reverse, followed by the 9 of Wands in reverse, and the 5 of Wands. From the Moonology Oracle deck, we do also have New Moon in Aries. It's time to take action. And interestingly, the full moon in Aries, a fiery climax approaches. So I feel like there is something that has been brewing for quite some time, because between the new and full moon in the same sign, there is 6 months. We have the Aries new moon that falls sometime in March or April, and then the full moon in Aries, which shows up in Libra season at the beginning of fall. So there's been something I feel that has been brewing for some time, and it's time for you to take action, or at least for a lot of you. I could see there's a connection. I could see that there is a connection for some of you where you have been delaying conflict, especially with the Hanged Man in reverse, kind of biding your time, hoping that issues would resolve, and it didn't. And if this isn't a current relationship or energy that you're in, there could very well be a pattern where you kind of just wait things out. You don't take things or nip them by the bud. You wait for things to kind of brew until they boil over and then become even bigger. With the 9 of Wands in reverse too, kind of showing up in your present, you may be feeling overwhelmed. You may be feeling really defeated. And I get this sense that it's almost like you don't want to deal with an energy, you don't want to have a conversation with somebody, you don't want to address the hurt. But it's like the more you avoid it, the louder it's going to come back to your face with the Five of Wands. And I feel like there's this conflict. I'm going to be honest, with the Ghost Pipe card here, which is the card of mystery from the Botanical Oracle, Ghost Pipe is actually a really interesting plant. It is one of the few plants that has no chlorophyll. It might actually be the only one that has no chlorophyll. I'm not sure about that. For relying on a food source, it actually taps into the mycorrhizal network, the mycelium network, the fungi and the trees. It literally takes in energy from the connection of the forest. So for those of you who don't know, the mycelium network is a underground network that connects mushrooms together, and plants actually use their roots to exchange information with each other. It's almost like a plant internet or a fungi internet where they're exchanging information, kind of like their Facebook, their social media, if you will. And the ghost pipe grows off of this network. It draws in energy. It's very psychic and connected in this way. It is literally drawing on the consciousness of the fungi and the plants of the forest. So it's a very mystical card. And you actually have quite a bit of mystical energy with the Hanged Man in reverse, as well as the Cobra card here, the animal spirit card that is coming in for you too. I almost feel like you know something is going to happen. You know the outcome of the situation you're in, or you've been kind of in this pattern where it's like you know right away and you kind of ignore the red flags. Don't do that anymore. Pay attention to your intuition. Pay attention to the things that keep coming up. You may feel like you had this intuition and you're able to now change the course of action, but to be honest, with this fiery climax approaching, it's like you kind of find yourself in a situation where even with the knowledge and awareness of where things were going to go and making steps to try and change that or delay that, it still happens anyway. There's still this conflict. There's still this fiery explosion. And honestly, it feels a little bit painful. I feel like this group has been burned a lot in relationships. They've had things blow up in their face. You might actually deal with a lot of fire sign energy in your love life or with your relationships, and you've just had a lot of things blow up or a lot of intensity. And it's like no matter how hard you try to hold yourself back, you aren't able to sustain that relationship in the long run. That there's still the explosion, there's still the conflict anyway. So I feel like Spirit is really trying to get you to sit with yourself, to meditate, wait for the perfect time to strike, to speak up. Don't be passive here. You know, Cobra is about meditating, it is about pausing, but it ultimately will strike. It does move forward. It does say what it needs to say. It does what it needs to do. I feel like for a lot of you, you say, oh, it's not the right time to have this conversation, or, oh, I don't want to bring this up right now. This person's going through a lot. Maybe I can bring this up later. It's almost like there's no ideal time. Maybe that's the thing that's been the blockage. You need to really be bold here with this Aries energy. I do also see with the hummingbird, there is this need to find sweetness in life. And that's interesting because I know Ghost Pipe, it draws on the sugars from the mycelium network. You need to find sweetness in your life. You need to find this connection to spirit, either through something that you love to do, in nature, literally taking time to meditate, whatever it is that makes you feel spiritually connected. I feel like that is super important for you. Because I feel like there's something where there's a relationship or a situation where you've been ignoring your intuition, or you felt like you could change something because you knew the outcome and you weren't able to. And honestly, I feel like some of you are already in the midst of this explosion or this breakdown or in the aftermath of it. And now you're just sitting there like, wow, why did I have to go through all of this? But if you're being completely honest with yourself, you saw the red flags, you saw the things that weren't working, and you kind of ignored it, or you delayed having conversations about it because you were afraid of pushing this person away. But ultimately, the relationship ended, or it's not going to work because you're not in this flow with somebody. You're not in this organic give and take relationship. There's this parasitic thing going on, and you need to be able to get your own needs met too. For some of you, you could be in a relationship or involved in a connection where it's not necessarily going to end, but you do need to have a hard conversation. And you almost need to go in with this understanding of, these are what my needs are, this is kind of the line I'm drawing, and I'm willing to walk away from this relationship if it's not met, or if this is not being respected, if my boundaries are not being respected. And who knows, maybe that's actually the thing that fixes the relationship. But with this mystery card here, it's almost like you're not supposed to know if that is your situation. It's supposed to be a little obscure. And, ghost pipe is very interesting because it's a plant that's often hidden in shadows. You might feel like you've needed to hide yourself. And now it's time for you to migrate, to move into something, to follow the sweetness, to follow spirit, and to really connect with this. I want to tell this group kind of as an aside, you're very psychic, you're very spiritual yourselves, and you do need to reconnect with your intuition. I feel like the relationships or the people you've surrounded yourself with have kind of cut you off. Maybe they made you second guess yourself, or you were just sort of hoping internally that things would be different. You sort of just know that something is not working out here, and if you don't take the lead with this Aries energy, something is going to blow up in your face anyway. So you might as well just speak your truth now. I know it doesn't feel super comfortable with this 9 of Wands in reverse. You might feel really defeated, and it might feel like it's not the right time, but there's not going to be the perfect timing to have a conversation or have a confrontation. And again, this could just be referring to a pattern that you have in relationships overall. It might not be a current relationship you're in. You're just being asked to be aware of this tendency for yourself. That is the thing that you're supposed to change. You can't change the future by changing someone else's behavior without making the internal changes in yourself and changing the patterns that you have. You need to be more comfortable speaking your needs. You need to be more comfortable reaching out for sweetness and taking in love yourself. It's not something that should feel parasitic to you. I do feel like some of you are shedding a skin here with this Cobra energy, and you're really connecting to the spirit realm. You're connecting to your crown chakra in particular. And I feel like you need to trust your intuition. I'm actually getting this kind of message too. Some of you are watching this and this isn't even about you. This is actually about a friend or a loved one who is in an unhealthy relationship, and you are kind of torn. Do I speak up for this person? Do I let this person know, like, hey, this isn't healthy. I really think you need to do something different here. How can I support you in that? And you might feel like you can't raise the conversation. It might cause that person to lash out. Let them lash out. Let the conflict happen. You can't control other people's reactions anyway. I think you do need to speak from a place of authority and trusting in yourself. And it might be some time. This person might have to just go through the hard lesson themselves, but they come back and they're like, yeah, you were right. Don't feel like you're going to lose this relationship if somebody else is in an unhealthy relationship and you feel like you need to speak up, because you're not in the relationship you want to have anyway. If you're afraid to speak up, if you're afraid to connect with people authentically because you're afraid of losing the relationship, then you don't have the relationship. You're not going to lose anything, whether this is talking about your own relationship or a relationship that you're observing. And those are all the messages I am getting for you right now, Group 3. I do hope that this was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below how this landed for you. I do have links in the description box if you're looking for personal readings or Reiki sessions with me. I'm also now offering aura reading services, and I'm going to be posting a slew of aura-related content on my channel. It's why I've been a bit behind the scenes, working very hard, kind of quiet on the YouTube front. So I hope you're looking forward to all of those. I'm really, really excited for it. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if that's something that is interesting to you. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care. This reading is for you if you chose group number 4. So right off the bat, going to be honest with you, it feels like there's some dramatic energy here, some major shifts or drama that is going on. But I actually think that there are some things that can be talked out here. So for the tarot cards, we do have the Tower coming up in reverse. That was the first card. So again, this kind of dramatic, explosive energy. There may have been an ending in a relationship, but honestly, I think it's not the end. It felt like it could have been something that was like a make or break situation. There might even be still some settling with that energy, to be honest. With the Temperance card in reverse and the Page of Swords, something is definitely very out of balance still. So this Tower moment could have happened. And it either broke the relationship or you made it through with somebody. But there's still this disharmony. There's still something that does not feel settled, to be totally honest. It wasn't the end. There's still just this weird energy there. And with the Page of Swords, it's like you feel like something needs to be talked out. You're not sure if you should reach out to this other person, this person should reach out to you. Maybe there's already a message that's been exchanged. I feel like there is some clarity that could be gained by having communication, to be honest, with the Ace of Swords. Or, I'm sorry, the Ace of Wands. But I want to be honest, the 2 cards that came here, the Moonology cards, it's time to release negativity with the full moon in Scorpio. And don't let pride get in the way with the full moon in Leo. I feel like there's an ego battle. I'm going to be honest. This might not be a romantic relationship. It could be dealing with family, could be friends. Keep that in mind. It feels like whoever this is referring to, there were 2 really strong personalities or 2 really strong sides that came out, even if this isn't the typical energy. Again, Scorpio and Leo as zodiac signs, to be honest, they have a tendency to be a little dramatic. That is a quality you could ascribe to both of them. And it feels like there might have even been this series of arguments in the past. And recently there was something, or things kind of ended. There was just like a final moment, and it almost doesn't make sense, is what I'm feeling for you. It's like of all the things that caused this disruption in our connection, that made things feel different this time, it was this. Like that's kind of a message I'm getting. I feel like some of you really do need to communicate. And interestingly, from the Botanical Oracle, we do have burdock. These burrs, these seeds, which literally stick to clothing, stick to animals' fur. The message with this card is tenacity. I'm just going to be honest. If you feel like you're in a situation where it feels like it doesn't feel like it's over, but on the surface it looks like it's over, there's definitely a conversation that needs to be had there. I'm not going to tell you that this relationship can be saved. I'm not going to go in and make that kind of broad sweeping statement, to be honest, because we're on YouTube. I don't know your specific situation. This is a general reading. But I do feel like there's definitely this need to communicate, to reach out, and to really put your pride away, put your ego aside, and own how you're not proud of the way you acted. Because that's probably going to be the thing that opens up this person too. And, this conversation really could just help you clear the air. Maybe it helps you see that it wasn't you. Maybe this person responds poorly and they're acting very rude or whatever, or not being reciprocal. There's a lot of ego here. That could be you, that could be somebody else. Honestly, kind of feels like both of you, though, just being real. When someone's ego flares up, it has a tendency to bring up the other person's ego. We get defensive when other people's defenses go up. That's just a human tendency thing. That's a human nature. I see that with the peacock especially. It's almost like you're waiting to see who speaks up first. You're both waiting for the other person to apologize. Or maybe you're waiting for an apology that this person's just not going to give you, and you need to come up. You need to come forward. You need to set things right. You need to try and clear the air with the vulture card here. There's definitely something that is not balanced here. And that's why I'm not so sure that this is a relationship that's honestly going to work out in the long term, just being real. But I feel like in the immediate future with the Ace of Wands, there's something here that can be sparked. I'm getting a lot of passion, that's for sure. And actually a lot of like really intense sexual energy. There might be really good sexual chemistry between you and this person, if this is a romantic connection, or it is that sort of connection. Yeah, I think someone's ego got in the way and they shut down. I'm even feeling like for some of you, there could be a ghosting situation. It literally feels like that, or like the cold shoulder, like not really speaking up a lot. I'm going to be honest, it doesn't feel mature. It doesn't feel like the most mature energy. And that's why things need to be brought into balance. There was no closure. And maybe this Ace of Wands actually represents closure. It brings new beginnings. It brings a new passion. And if you're not able to speak with this person, if that's not an option for you, maybe write a letter. Not send it to them, but just write them a letter. Connect to their higher self. Talk to their higher self in meditation. Say what you need to say. Make peace and let it go. With the Scorpio energy. I know that's hard. There's a lot of negativity here, and it's almost like a very addicting, toxic kind of relationship, to be honest, that I'm getting. Someone is very attractive, or there's a lot of attraction with the peacock energy. But I think there needs to be there needs to be more strategy or tact behind the way that you're expressing yourself or this other person is expressing themselves. You might get defensive very quickly because they drop on you. And if this isn't even talking about a specific person, then this could just be a pattern that you have in relationships. I actually feel like some of you might have Scorpio or Leo placements. And to be honest, with the tenacity card, I could very well see this manifesting in the shadow as stubbornness. You might be holding very stubbornly onto your defense or onto your argument why this person was so bad or so wrong. And maybe they were. I definitely see a lot of ego here. They very well could be. But on some level, that story is a mask, or that story is a barrier for you to not feel, to connect to this vulnerable side. Someone needs to initiate vulnerability and move the ego out of the way. Something needs to be brought back into balance, purified. You know, Vulture, it does talk about endings, death, being a scavenger, but finding nourishment in that. This could very well be talking about finding closure. For others of you, it could be finding new life in a situation that appears dead. And you're really not going to know unless you have this conversation or unless you risk that vulnerability. And again, for some of you, if this really isn't a situation where it is unsafe or it's not safe for you to talk to this person or reach out, or you just know that's not going to be productive, then write it out, talk to a friend. even if there was a friend who was kind of like, I told you so sort of energy, I feel like you actually need to go to that person and be like, hey, you were right, but the way you went about it was wrong. Because I don't feel like I can actually talk to you. I don't feel like you're actually looking out for my best interest, or I don't feel like you're receiving my vulnerability right now. You need to have that sort of heart-to-heart. Might not even be this specific person, you know? As I'm saying, it could be somebody else in this situation too. Very interesting. Those are all the messages I'm getting for you right now. I hope that this was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. I hope this didn't feel too backhanded or anything. I'm really doing these readings trying to be helpful and just give you like the truth. I have a Sagittarius moon. I just want to give you the constructive feedback you need to move forward. I do have links in the description box down below for those of you who are interested in personal readings or Reiki sessions. I am also offering aura readings as well, too. That is available in my store if you're interested in those. I am going to be offering a slew of aura-related content very shortly on this channel. I've been working very hard behind the scenes, so I apologize that I've been a bit quiet on the YouTube front. It's not that I've just forgotten about all of you. I've been working very hard. And it's taken a lot more time and energy than I realized, but it's been a huge passion project of mine, so I hope you're all looking forward to that as well. So if you are interested in hearing more about aura and learning more about energy, definitely hit like and definitely subscribe. That will be coming out shortly, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.